Hello everyone, welcome to Sunya IAS. So guys, in today's mains article discussion series, we have come up with a very important topic, Electoral Bond Scheme. Now, why is this topic important? All topics are important, but topics which are in news are more important. We will discuss the premise, what is the news about, what does, why is it in talks these days. But first of all, we will understand what is an electoral bond. Okay, what is an electoral bond? So we all know that India is a democracy, right? And cornerstone of any democracy is free and fair elections, right? Yes, we all agree to that. And India has been seeing elections on a very timely basis, and elections are tried to conduct in a very free and fair manner to protect the democratic spirit. So in 2017 there was a finance bill that was introduced in the parliament. It was passed also to have this electoral bonds enforced. Now what is the scheme? First of all, so whenever elections are happening, we see a lot of money being spent. Where does this money come from? It comes from donations. So earlier what used to happen was there was a cap on how much corporates could donate, but then there were a lot of anonymous donations which the political party was not answerable to for anyone, and the source was black money, obviously. So to curb that nuisance and to make it more accountable, this scheme was implemented. So who can buy this electoral bond and give money to a political party? Any citizen of India like me, you, or anyone else around us. Any entity that is registered in India, we can go to any designated branches, not any branches of State Bank of India, SBI. We can purchase these bonds in the denomination of 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh and 1 crore. Now this is like a pay order, that you give a check and receive this pay order in the name of the political party, or this can be done electronically also. And after you get your pay order, you go and give it to the relevant political party on whose name you have drawn this pay order, the electoral bond, and that political party has to deposit this in their official bank account within 15 days. Okay. Now, when can you purchase it? That's a question that would come to your mind. This opens quarterly, and every quarter you can try to fund your political party if you are a fan of any political party and want to support. So this was the intention of this entire scheme. So now if we explore this topic from mains point of view, what are the dimensions that UPSC will explore according to the mains trends? What is the need, what was the need rather of implementing this? Okay. Second, what are the challenges that are being faced? Obviously, if there is anything that someone is doing or we are also doing, there are certain challenges. And the third thing, how to improve it, what should be a way forward. So let's start our lecture and understand. Now I also told you there's a premise. Now there is ADR, a non-governmental agency, Association of Democratic Reforms. It has recently released a report on the electoral bond scheme. Now what does this report say? This report, okay, talks about these people, they have collected the data, and it talks about how the scheme has been performing since it was implemented in 2018. Okay, the bill passed here and implementation began in 2018. So these it has been 5 years already, and since it's completed half a decade, they have conducted some studies. So it is very surprising that 54%. Okay, so which political parties can receive the funding? The political parties who are registered, okay, with the Election Commission of India under RPA section 88A, they can receive fund from this scheme. Also, any political party that has secured at least 1% vote in a general election is only eligible to receive funds, okay, not other parties. So there has been 54% of the funds that are received as donations are received from this scheme. 54% of the total election expenditure. Now, the total election expenditure ranges in thousands of crores, okay, tens of thousands of crores, around 9,000 something, and 54% has been contributed from this. What is more surprising is there has been a 742 times rise in funding through these bonds. Okay, so we are going to look at the positive side of the scheme. The negative side, there is the challenges, and we will talk about a way forward, and we will be using examples time and again to substantiate our points. Okay, so now whenever you write, you're thinking about any topic or writing about any topic, so first of all I would want you to understand that if it's an election, then by giving an electoral bond, who needed it the most? So government and donor. There are two specific stakeholders which needed this reform the most, and which we thought that will have a huge positive impact for. So if you talk about from the government's end, then let us understand. Initially what used to happen, lot of anonymous donations used to happen, and the political parties would just say that we don't know, it is anonymously given to us, it's given in cash, it's given in our account, we don't know. Okay, but here, since a person needs to have KYC verified, has to go to a bank, purchase it, give it, there is a record. So somewhere it will promote more transparency. Okay, it will reduce misuse of money. Right, I said that a lot of anonymous donations used to come, and since the political parties would not register that kind of donation, what will happen is they would misuse it in bribing the voters or influencing the voters in different ways. Another dimension, it ensures political accountability. Like now we know the exact amount of money received by X political party, in what denomination it has received from, how many donors it has received, is one body funding it entirely, or it's a corpus made by individuals and they have like given up their savings for the political party or something. So here accountability will be thing, and reduce black money, because if the anonymous cash donations are coming, they would be coming from black money. What is black money? Any money on which tax is not paid, which is unaccounted for, is black money. Okay. Now for the donor and contributor, so what would happen is, say I am giving some donation to X party. Now the Y party would know it, and maybe if the Y party wins the election, the Y party will harass me. It happens. But in the electoral bond scheme, the identity of the donor is protected. It is kept anonymous. The pay order that you get will not have your name or details, it will just have the name and the details of the political party. Now it is a very simple mechanism. You can purchase it online also, or you can do it from your account as well. It is done from SBI designated branches. Now these bonds, this money, when you pay, they are tax deductible. So we all know that there is up to 1.25 lakh, if you have an income, your money is not taxed. But if you go above that slab, whatever income you are earning, it will be taxed at 10%, 20%, 30%, depending how much your income is. But whatever money you are donating in terms of electoral bond will be considered as non-taxable, and you will get that deduction from your income tax returns. So yes, for voters there are good benefits, donor, contributor, voter, because it is done by the. Now what are the challenges? Challenges we will have to understand in a bit more detail. Okay. Now we will understand what are the disadvantages, first of all by for the voters. Now guys, understand, for the voters, this electoral bond scheme does not provide any transparency. the voters are not given any information that who is donating how much to a political party. So somewhere, you know, it is infringing the fundamental right of knowing, right to know, covered under Article 19, and somewhere not availing information is eroding our democracy. Now, small political parties. What are the disadvantages for small political parties? Small political parties who do not get 1% votes are not eligible. Also, the recent research shows that most of the donation, okay, 80%, around 80% of the donation is received by 11 national parties. And these, and there is also one disadvantage, you know what, that the party which is ruling, SBI being a government entity, can easily track the details of who's donating to whom. So small political parties are also disadvantaged, they are not even getting the donations, and also the level playing field is disturbed somewhere. As a citizen, we have a right to know, and this right we are not getting. So our fundamental right is being infringed somehow. Now we are talking about it is misused by the ruling government. Now we have to understand that before the finance bill came in, there was a cap on the donations made by corporates. The corporates could not donate more than 7.5% of the average annual profit of last 3 years. But this new bill removes that part. Also, the ruling government can get more donations from these companies. The ruling government also can find out who is funding whom, and then it can get into a vigilante hunt as well. Okay. Now SBI. Now I said it's open for a 15-day window every quarter, but SBI sometimes it breaks the rules by extending the timelines, because it's a government run entity. They maybe have received information or something, and they keep it extending so that more donation can be accumulated, which is wrong. Donor contribution and donor company, their information is not anonymous. Okay, they misuse it in a way. Now the donor companies can give any amount of money. Now understand one more dynamic to this. I hope you guys are familiar with a concept called shell companies. What are shell companies? These are companies which are not actually doing any business, but they are used for circulation of money and converting black money to white money. So there are a lot of entities, or maybe routing black money. So there are a lot of entities which are registered abroad, and then they would have a connecting entity based in India, and money would be transacted from another country to the entity operating here, or which is just registered here. And this way black money can also enter the system. This way terror funding can also happen. Actually RBI has been worried about terror funding happening through the electoral bonds. So here there is no cap. Shell companies can be activated, black money can be used, and terror financing also. 4 points you have to remember here when it comes to donor contribution. Now there are a lot of concerns raised. We just spoke about one. Okay, here RBI. Now what happens is, when we spoke about the citizens here, when you do an RTI in the SBI to find out which party has got how much donation, SBI is not even replying to the RTIs, which is our right to know, Right to Information Act. The Supreme Court has suggested that there has to be certain checks and balances put in place so that the concerns raised by RBI and the misuse is controlled. Election Commission was also apprehensive in the beginning that this would encourage black money and would not have a level playing field when it comes. Other political parties, it says that the parties not in power will always blame the ruling party for receiving more donations and for misusing their power to know who's donating to whom. Now the civil society, again the same point, but you have to put it in a way that anonymity is an issue, then no cap is an issue, non-respondence to RTIs is an issue for civil societies. So if we want good governance to happen in the country, and if we want that the civil society becomes a part, takes part in the governance, then we will have to make certain changes in the system somewhere so that the entire process can become transparent. We implemented it for transparency, but we are seeing that there is no transparency. We implemented it for accountability, but we are seeing that there is no accountability, right? So this is what it is when it comes to the challenges. Now when we talk about a way forward, again we will talk about stakeholders. So what can the government do? The 7.5% cap that was removed, it somehow needs to be brought back. There has to be some cap that the government should impose. There has to be some limitation. Like me as an individual, I can buy 1 crore worth of electoral bonds, like 10 of them, and give it to the political party. So that should not be allowed. Me as a corporate or a company can buy X amount, like no limit, infinity amount, and give it to a political party. So that should not be allowed, and some cap should be put. Effective regulation. We have made, got the act out. We have made this a statutory provision. But then, if there is lack of regulation in the entire scheme, then how will democracy thrive? That was the basic idea, and we are pivoting from that. Now for the judiciary. Now judiciary is advised to act as an umpire between the government and the citizens and ensure that there is enough transparency and accountability. Also the judiciary, a lot of times judiciary comes up with legislation. We call it judicial interference or judicial papism. But then judiciary should come up with guidelines and plug in the loopholes wherever the government has missed it. Like the judiciary also came up with the implementation of midday meal schemes, which has been very effective. The Vishaka guidelines, which are very effective and which was a need of the hour. So similarly, judiciary can also step in and plug the loopholes. Now from the voters have to get more aware about their rights, and they need to start demanding information. And we have to understand that all of us, we are very concerned about our own lives. We don't want to go and put in an RTI, we don't want to go and join a procession, but somewhere the civic society will have to transit from this culture to a culture wherein we are becoming more aware citizens, because without an aware citizenry, democracy will not last long. Elections are the cornerstone of free and fair election, of a democracy. Free and fair elections are a cornerstone of a democracy. If the free and fair elections, Article 324, is eroded somewhere by some small legislation or any other thing, then the democracy will also erode steadily. So it is time that all the stakeholders step up and do their own bit, as in the government should take the necessary steps by putting a cap, the judiciary should plug in the loopholes, and the citizens should become more aware. Only then we will be able to move towards a thriving democracy and we can usher good governance. So guys, this was it for today. If the question is being asked, do mention the ADR report, the recent ADR report on electoral bond scheme, okay, and also try to watch the lecture, make notes, and try to understand the dimensions, okay. So guys, bye for today. Thank you very much. keep on watching this series, keep on liking the videos, and keep on commenting if you like the video. Thank you very much, guys.